Hello, I'm Hank Quentz, and in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how writers and authors can use artificial intelligence as a writing buddy. Artificial intelligence is all the rage these days. It's all over the internet and the papers. I've been toying with AI since early last year. The one thing I've noticed is that there is a lack of practical applications, generally, and none that I found for writers and authors. In this lecture, I'll show writers and authors how they can use AI to support their writing. This is the layout for this series of talks. Parts 2 and 3 will also be YouTube videos. My AI examples will be divided into 3 sections. The first one will have practical applications that apply to both fiction and non-fiction writers. To begin with the practical applications, I'll show you a few that are common to many types of writing. This slide provides examples of what AI can be used for. In the rest of the talk, I'll go into a few specific applications that will assist almost all writers and authors. Query engineering is real. I've seen ads for college-level courses on query engineering. There were even books on this topic. You have to ask specific questions to get anything of value out of an AI. I'll show you some specific queries a bit later. You can use my queries as beginning points for your own queries if you wish. To use AI in this application, you'll have to tell the AI program about the story. A short storyline or a short synopsis will do nicely. Let's see an example. I used my novel Falstaff's Big Gamble as the subject. I used a rather simple query in this case, and you can see some of the titles. If the query provided more details, the answers would be quite different and more appropriate. Here are 2 rather simple applications that can have a lot of usage. For editing, I would limit the text to a scene at a time, or perhaps a single article. And yeah, you can tell the AI what tone to use. In this example, I took the opening paragraph from an article I wrote a while back, and I asked Perplexity to rewrite it 2 different ways. Here are the responses. I'll shut up for a bit while you read the responses. Here is another use for AI. The AI examined the text from an inexperienced writer and came back with 5 examples of show don't tell. I only show the first 2. AI can help fiction writers create a stronger story by assisting them in the development of crucially important elements. Essentially, you can use the AI to brainstorm and help you develop the story, not write the story. Let's see what this means. This generic query produced a generic response. This isn't all the items. It goes on with more traits. And this might be of some use, but this is what you probably already know. This is what you can get from any book on fiction writing. There is a better way to use AI. This is where AI queries can really shine. Suppose you want your main character to be like Ted Lasso. In this case, you want to know what makes Ted a great character, so you write the query. Ted Lasso is just an example. You can use any character from TV, movies, or literature, or maybe even history if you want your character to be like, say, Napoleon or Boudica. This is the list of traits. The response isn't just simply a list. Each trait is accompanied by an explanatory paragraph, and it goes on. The response didn't fit into one slide. Here is the rest of the traits, along with a summary. Of course, now it's up to you to make creative use of the information. You can pick and choose what traits you want and delete some. Overall, the AI has given us a model to use in your own character development. Here is another great application. Suppose you have a character in mind, but you're not sure about the development because the character is a tricky one. Let's feed this description into the AI program and see what comes out. Each bullet item came with an explanation that amplifies the item. Now we have a detailed model to use in developing the character. Plots are another area that AI can assist a fiction writer. This query, for example, provides a rather neat list of issues to avoid, but it's a generic list because it's a generic query. Let's try something more specific. So you have a story idea and you develop a brief explanation of it. Then you ask the AI to develop a plot. And what you're looking for is ideas to incorporate into the story. And you can also change this query to make it a story outline. The response is voluminous. I provided the details of the response here. In the next slide, I'll just show the headers. The response does provide some cool ideas. What the AI provides in this case is a starting point to develop your plot or your story. It's the author's job to choose the items that fit into her concept of the story and ignore the rest. These are the headers for the rest of the response. Remember, each header is accompanied by a paragraph of details on what goes on in that header. This statement doesn't need any amplification. Non-fiction writers can use the title query the same as fiction writers, but non-fiction writers have a few special needs for which the AI can prove useful. An AI program is a great asset in finding relevant sites when researching a book. This query is based on one of my books. The AI instruction is the last sentence. Without going into details, I got back a list of 14 sites to use for research. The sites were broken down by phases of the book. Let's try the same query, but give the AI a different task. This time it'll have to generate an outline for the book that covers the 5 phases involved in creating a book: planning, writing, publishing, marketing, and business. I had a lot of trouble with the response. My first queries confused the AI program. The first 2 resulted in an outline for a novel. Finally, I revised the query to the above. The last sentence did the trick. This time the outline was great and voluminous. Each chapter had a subheading or 2, and it ended up with a conclusion and appendices. The key lesson here is the importance of getting the query correct so as to not confuse the AI program. I just showed a number of ways that AI can be used to generate useful information that writers and authors can use in support of their creative efforts. So a question that will arise is this: is this ethical to use the AI in this way? My answer is yes, it is ethical. I've gone through these writing processes many times without AI, and all the AI responses here do not replace my creative thinking. It replaces tedious, non-creative work that is necessary to get a book or a story completed. Using the AI frees up my time to spend on more creative work. In addition, the AI is better at this type of non-creative work than I am. The AI responses almost always includes points that I would never have thought of. To repeat my conclusion, yes, this stuff is ethical. This book is available in Amazon and other sites in ebook and print. I wrote this book at the same time I created this AI lecture. The obvious conclusion here is that AI can be used as a resource that can provide writers and authors with a great deal of useful support information. What do you think? Did my AI queries get you thinking about your own queries? You can leave comments and observations in the space below.